With specialized crack teams from the Zimbabwe Republic Police arresting suspected drug peddlers. The latest operation, confirmed by ZRP National Spokesperson Commissioner Ponyati, resulted in the arrest of Reason Gatawa, Jermaine Fredix and Melody Shambira on allegations of involvement in transporting a consignment of drugs valued at over 10,000 United States dollars.
Yesterday, that is the 4th of April 2025, we had a drug overhaul in terms of arrests and recoveries of US $11,500, where in the first incident we had a bus which was coming from South Africa, and this bus was proceeding to Malawi, and the police picked information, tracked the bus up to Mutoko, just imagine, and in the process they were delivering Daha, they were delivering Bronclear, they were delivering what is known as South Alpine. And this is a huge consignment of drugs which was intended for the Zimbabwean market. We also pounced at a house in Hillside area in Harare, where we recovered huge consignment of Mandrax tablets, South Alpine drugs, and also Eastex, and above all, Daha, which was again intended for Harare.
Commissioner Nyati also warned that the police are closely collaborating with the various organizations to carry out anti-drugs campaigns.
We are working with the various stakeholders, who include the church, we include the Ministry of Health and Child Care, we include even the chiefs, to conduct awareness campaigns. And also remember, we also have the issue of social psycho support in terms of rehabilitation centers, which have been set up throughout the country. Government
has established an interministerial committee dedicated to fighting drug abuse in the country. Peter Chivima, ZBC News, Harare.
Candidates for the Glenview South by-election, set for the 12th of this month, are making final touches in canvassing for voter support through rallies in the constituency.
The ruling ZANU-PF party leadership graced Chairman's grounds in Glenview South this Saturday to ramp up support for its candidate as the party seeks to win seats that have been held by the opposition parties over the decades. The Women's League led the program with exhibitions and awarding of certificates to close to 1,000 women who underwent courses in detergent making, poultry and first aid delivery.
Panama developments ari kuitika akanga asina kumboitika before achiitwa naivo president vedu comrade ED Mnangagwa. Saka naizvozvo ndinofunga zvasimudzira mweya yevanhu kunoti kumvura nyaya yemaborehole drilling scheme, presidential borehole drilling scheme, nyaya yezvikoro, nyaya also yema title deeds akalaunchwa na president. Madzimai kuno, vanhu vekuno vatoona kutoti ma title deeds akutozouya kudzimba wokuno, not only farming but also in housing.
Nhasi tiri kuti kuvagari vemuno muGlenview vakamusarudza kuti ave candidate yedu yeZANU-PF musi wa 12 April. Makagona, tarirai iye zvine zvasati apinda muofisi, maroads atotanga kugadzirwa, mvura yakanga ichinetsa kuno kuma presidential boreholes apinda mukati menzvimbo ino. Zvinhu zvakawanda zviri kuitika. Tikataura nyaya yeempowerment kumadzimai, maona maproducts ari kugadzirwa nemadzimai. Zvese izvi zviri kuitwa nemwanasikana wedu Tsitsi, watiri kuti musi wa 12 April ngatisimukei tose vagari vemukati menzvimbo ino tiende tinotsigira ZANU-PF.
Muno muGlenview South vanhu vazhinji vakuratidza kuti vanga va disappointed nevanhu vavaimbovhotera nekuti hapana chakaitwa muno Glenview South. Inzvimbo yakatourayiwa panzvimbo kuti ive ine budiriro, asi vanhu vari kuratidza tarisiro pane candidate yedu musikana comrade Tsitsi Taomera kuti mwana uyu semwana akazvarirwa muno, akakurira muno, akadzidza muno, iye anoziva matambudziko, anoziva zvinodiwa muGlenview South constituency.
The candidate is optimistic of victory.
As you all know, kuti kuGlenview South Atina Secondary School, it's going to be there's going to be a groundbreaking ceremony yechikoro chichavakwa muno muGlenview South chesecondary school chehurumende. So tisati taenda kunovhoterwa kwokuzoti tikazovoterwa achave manake muGlenview South.
Meanwhile, the National Constitutional Assembly held its rally in the constituency with the party president, Professor Love Momaduku, leading the charge.
Pamusi wa-12 April, vanhu vekuGlenview South vari kuvhotera voice yavo. Handiti ndazwana zvakafanana nekuti nezvaurikutaura uri kuisa volume yezvokuti zvinyatsodii kubuda. Tiri kuvhotera voice yatinoda kuti iende kuparamendi yonogara ichitika simuka ichitaura vanhu vekuGlenview South vanonzwa kuti aiwa izvo zviri kutaurwa izvo ndo zvino zvedu. NCA Party 1.
The party candidate also looks towards improving service delivery.
Kune zvakawanda zvatoda kuti gadzirirwe, especially maroads. Ndotanga nemaroads. Maroads edu aparara. Toya clinic haina ma-equipment akanyanya kuti vari kunyanya kutibatsira nawo, ma-ambulance hakuna.
5 candidates will battle it out on the 12th of April, namely Tsitsita Omera of ZANU-PF, Perpetua Mkanda of NCA, 3 independent candidates, George Makwangwaidze, Tonderai Chakeredza and Tungamirai Madzokere. The seat became vacant following the death of Honorable Gledmore Akata in January this year. Wellington Makonese, ZBC News, Harare.
For more updates, do get in touch with us on our social media handles. That is at ZBC News Online.
And coming up later on in tonight's bulletin in business, women benefit immensely from the First Lady's Agric for Sheep program.
Later on, we'll take a look at the sport and what is happening in the world of rugby.
We're off to a break. Stay with us.
Zimbabwe is delighted to host the upcoming 15th conference of the contracting parties to the Ramsar Convention on Wetlands, COP15 in 2025. Zimbabwe is home to quite a number of small wetlands that have benefited our rural communities, mainly in providing pastures for livestock, water provision for irrigation and domestic use. In addition, our management of wetlands, which has led to pristine wildlife management, will ensure an unforgettable experience of an authentic African safari. Our adoption of sustainable land use practices that minimize the impact of human activities on wetlands can be observed in our various wetland sites such as Victoria Falls, Munaville Vlei, Chinui Caves, Cleveland, Chivero, Driefontein, and Manapoos. 5 of the Ramsar designated sites are the main anchors of our tourism product. Manapoos, Chinui Caves, Cleveland, Chivero, and the host city for COP15, Victoria Falls. We look forward to welcoming you to Zimbabwe and sharing all that we hold dear to our hearts, a world of wonders.
Shark on the line.
He took my fish.
You guys, did you see that? I just was like, what?
I really want you to find someone nice who would mean the world to you and make you so happy.
Bernardo Silva, Stones, Foden, a little bit of time. Oh, what a shot! What a goal! What a player!
Welcome back and thank you for staying with us. Zimbabwe is targeting to upscale rice production with rural irrigation schemes, taking the lead in the growing of the crop, aiming for national self-sufficiency. Let's take a look.
Rice production has been embraced in Nyanga through the Manunure irrigation scheme as an initiative to meet the escalating national demand, which surged from 10,000 tons to over 120,000 tons in the past decade by the First Lady, Dr. Auxilia Mnangagwa, and spearheaded by the Japan International Cooperation Agency.
10 kgs. Vari kutarisira goho rinoita 2.5 to 3 tons per day. Takazvitambira nemufaro asi tachifungidzira kuti raisi rinongorimwa mumatoro tisingazivi kuti raisi rinorimwa pakaoma. Takapiwa raisi yedu 7 kg tikairima pademo plot. Taibatira pamwe chete seirrigation tiri 57 members. Takarima tikasvika pakukohwa raisi iya. Takarima nerika 7 nenerika 3.
Government has implemented deliberate measures to enhance rice production through strategic partnerships with the Japanese counterparts who are eager to expand their support and technical expertise.
Started off with some small pilot projects across the country in some small irrigation schemes as a way of increasing seed. In each and every crop you need to have seed. So we started off with giving out farmers a kg of seed, then they would do some demonstration plots. We're expecting for a kg of seed on that 200 square meter demo plot, they will get 50 kg of seed. Then to have food self-sufficiency, before selling, they need to have enough food in their homes so that they will have enough to eat before selling outside to other members in other countries.
A prominent rice expert who has a long history of experience growing rice in Africa. So we, JICA is now supporting the production organization.
The developments feed into the Agriculture and Food Systems Rural Transformation Strategy, which aims to enhance agricultural productivity in rural areas and establish a robust and viable industry, aligning with the national vision of achieving an upper middle income status by 2030. Wellington Makonese, ZBC News.
Sugarcane outgrowers in the Low Veld are reaping the benefits of independence amid numerous opportunities that come with production of the strategic crop.
Before independence, black individuals were marginalized from economic. Many were limited to low-paying farm work, which hindered their educational advancement and capacity to establish businesses. However, as the country commemorates 45 years of independence, the district says the land reform program was a turning point in the country's history, as it ensured that more indigenous people had access to land previously in the hands of the minority rule. Comrade Boniface Mtemachani, who is expecting to harvest more than 5,000 tons of sugarcane on his 100-hectare piece of land, hailed the Second Republic for widening opportunities for sugarcane outgrowers through initiatives such as making sugarcane a strategic crop.
Takaenda kuhondo tikadzoka ende taifunga kuti inhoroondo yekuti takavhura cho takazokwanisa kuripiwa muna 2000 saka taripiwa vhuri yariya ndakura ndichifudza ng'ombe dzevanhu so kungoonawo kachitriangle kendakawana handofara. Zvino ndakapiwa munda inini paine about 18 hectares 18.3 ndobva ndaramba ndichiwedzera asi kutaura kudaiwo ndiri kutaura zvekuti ndakutopinda mu 100 hectares ndichisapotiwa negovernment.
Apart from being a successful sugarcane farmer, Comrade Mtemachani is also popular for challenging youths to play their part in safeguarding the gains of the liberation struggle while emphasizing the importance of Zimbabwe's ethos and values.
Tinotodzidzawo kubva kwavari kuti chichaitika kuhondo sezvo isusu tiri vana vechidiki kudai so takatowana mukana seni ndoti ndakawana mukana wokuziva zvaiita.
Comrade Mtemachani also finds joy in putting some of his liberation struggles experiences into music.
Totodada nambuya nehanda chaminuka wachitepo akafire nyika aluta continua.
The sugar industry in Zimbabwe consists of over 1,200 indigenous commercial sugarcane farmers, and they account for close to 40% of Zimbabwe's total sugarcane production. Gay Matambo, ZBC News, Chirezi.
Mutora Business Center in Gokwe North District came to a standstill as ZBC's 3 radio stations stage a roadshow in preparation for the National Independence celebrations to be held in the same.
National FM and the Midlands-based Central FM took the cream of their producer-presenters to Gokwe. The roadshow is part of the broader activities by the state broadcaster in fulfilling the parent ministry's mandate of publicizing the National Independence celebrations.
We will be coming to this place, Gokwe Nembudzia, for the 45th anniversary of our independence. But as radio stations, we have a mandate to increase or improve the stations, Radio Zimbabwe, National FM, and our host station, Central Radio from Gweru, to prepare the way for our leadership when they come.
The radio station's personalities did not disappoint. The Gokwe community was impressed to see some of their favorite radio personalities doing what they know best.
Zvinokuzwa because zvasisa zvamboitika mugokwe nembudzi yeshe. Ifirst time yedu kusangana nemashure akadai so upenyu hunonakidza hunongodiwawo. Tagadzirirwa road, tagadzirirwa stadium. Nechaunga zvakazara panapa kuratidza kuti tiri kurangarirwawo.
Vana vafara kunyanya chikarandundu vana kuti vafarira
chikarandundu muri Zimbabwe kuti kumwe Gokwe kuye Radio Zimbabwe.
Radio yaGokwe kuno kuri kunakidza kwete zvokutamba.
This Zim 845 devolve and develop together towards Vision 2030. Tafara Chikumira, ZBC News, Gokwe.
War veterans in Manicaland province have started to benefit from wealth ZANU-PF party.
The War Veterans Provincial Inter-District meeting held in Mutasa District this Saturday and the ruling ZANU-PF party for the empowerment initiatives that are already benefiting freedom fighters within the province, with over 150 benefiting so far.
We joyfully thank His Excellency, the President, Comrade E.D. Mnangagwa, for the Presidential Revolving Fund Scheme, borrow scheme and housing schemes. On Presidential Revolving Fund, Manicaland Province received a total of 150,000 cash.
War Veterans Affairs Minister Senator Monica Mavunga spoke on the efforts and programs that are being spearheaded by her ministry to improve the welfare of war veterans.
142 vatana vezvinezvi vari paminda asi vasina magwaro eminda pati pamunda apa pachikodzera kunge varipo. Macomrades iwavo takabvumirana nezuro kuti mid next month vanofanirwa kunge vane ma-offer letters avo kana kuti ma-payments. Kana pana comrade agere pamunda paasina tsamba, ndapota endai kuma-office munonyoresa. War victims ndinozviziva kuti tine uwandu wakati wandei hwepaveterans vakavhetwa kare vari kukwanisa kunge vari kugamisira mari yavo iko zvino asi isingava pasi pasine mhandu. Tiri pahurukuro dzekuedza kutaura nevefinance kuti nyaya iyoyi igadzirisike, mari yedu ive nechimiro. Saka ipapo
ZANU-PF Secretary for War Veterans Affairs, Comrade Douglas Mahia, says the implementation of the Presidential War Veterans Fund, the borehole sinking program, and the War Veterans Housing Project, among a number of support programs, should be the rallying point for all war veterans to offer unwavering support to the leadership of President Emerson Mnangagwa.
Fund ya iri kufamba inonzi War Veteran Fund yakasiyana nefund iri kutaurwa namai Mavunga yeboard. Iyi ndiyakatsvagwa mari naivo President Bune pachavo, tiri kuiwana iyoyo. That's why iri kuuya iri cash. saka vari kutsvaga mari iyoyo nokuti takataura kutambudzika kuri kuita macomrades kuti vazviitire maprojects avo. Nobva vataura nyaya iyoyo, nobva tapuwa 150,000 per province. Vakativimbisa kuti 150,000 by June every province inofanira kunge yawana mari ikwane kusvika pa 1 million inotorwa nemawo veterans vachiita maprojects avo vachidzorera. Haina interest yayo kudzorwa kwayo ndo interest, ndo War Veterans Fund, president ya War Veterans Fund iri kuitwa na president. Comrade president vakaparurazve chirongwa chokuvakirwa dzimba.
The meeting also called for unity among war veterans to protect the gains of independence and the growth of the Revolutionary Party.
We now connect you to our Montrose studios where Marilyn Gwenya is on standby to give us some more updates. Marilyn, it's a lovely evening and it's over to you.
Good evening and many thanks to you, Zain and Natasha. Now we look at our following report where the Second Republic's mantra of leaving no one and no place behind has been demonstrated at the First Lady Dr. Auxilia Mnangagwa's traditional cookout competition in Makulela area in Bulilima. Scores of people took part in the culinary competition.
Beyond the imaginary gloomy picture of poverty and despair painted by some sections of the media on the San people lies a traditional system that takes one careful understanding to appreciate. As part of the development phase of humanity, the San were known for being nomadic hunters and gatherers, and it is from this phase that they mastered the art of preserving wild animals and fruits. These traditional knowledge systems have been passed from generation to generation as exhibited by Maxwell Moyes elephant biltong dishes and other preserved wild fruits that dominated the Amai's traditional cookout competition. But beyond the ordinary, Moyo and other two contestants are men who joined this year's traditional culinary competition.
Mina impheka isitshwala esimhlophe esilenyama endlovu efrayiweyo, ngapheka imbida endumba olelukake olihlanjwe lukake.
Amiwe nditola ndidila mukholo wangu ndovoka sibili na nasi ndathama iko ndadzandika wina nasi nandigwibhika gobubili kwa nasi ndawina nekuti ndatola zvifundo zvezvandakafundisiwa azvihingisa.
The local leadership is convinced that the Amai's traditional cookout competition dovetails with the Second Republic's mantra of leaving no one and no place behind in terms of development.
Ubone ezinye indawo ubele exposure ubone kanti abanye omama bayenzani sithi umama ngabe ngumama ngekhithi lakhe abantwana bangavukele emalayinini bengagezanga amehlo besiyakwata besiyacela ukudla kwabanye abantu.
Amai's traditional cookout competition, a brainchild of the First Lady Dr. Auxilia Mnangagwa, saw 20 contestants battling it out at Sabasi village in Makulela.
Ladies and gentlemen, as you may have noticed, the 2025 traditional cookout competitions are now slightly different from the previous editions in that our contestants at provincial level are competing now in 4 categories, but here there were 2 categories. We had the community and the people with disabilities. This is in line with the spirit of inclusivity.
2 winners will join other contestants who will be drawn from other provinces for a final showdown in Rwanda set for the 25th of May. Providence Maranelli, ZBC News, Bolilima.
Smuggling and money laundering have been identified as some of the key factors hampering the country's economic recovery and growth. This came out during the anti-money laundering and anti-smuggling campaign held in Bulawayo this Saturday.
Government officials, industry players, as well as cross-border traders met this Saturday to discuss various ways to protect the economy from rampant smuggling at the launch of the anti-money laundering and anti-smuggling campaign in Bulawayo. The campaign is part of efforts to put an end to smuggling, which is hampering the growth of the economy.
Smuggling destroys the economy. This is why it's not only destroying the economy, it actually destroys people. Because through this smuggling, that's why people are bringing drugs. They bring even products that are not wanted. They actually destroy also markets. They destroy companies that are into manufacturing.
With smuggling having detrimental effects on the economy, the intensification of crackdowns on smugglers seeks to protect local industry from unfair competition.
Isusu tiri phakathi pekuomerwa.
Kulaba amabhizinisi a-established esingathi ngamabhizinisi a-registered.
Vane amabhizinisi ari registered.
Bayakhala.
Vari kuchema.
Bakhala ngani?
Vari kuchema nezvenyu.
Bathi liyabuya lizothengisa phambi kweshop zabo.
Hanzi muri kuuya muchitengesa pamberi pemashops avo.
Let us work together to create a trading environment that is both conducive to your success and beneficial to the economic well-being of Bulawayo and Zimbabwe.
The Zimbabwe Revenue Authority, ZIMRA, has been making concerted efforts to reduce smuggling by conducting intensive patrols, especially at the country's borders. Lisa Masuku, ZBC News, Bulawayo.
Former Foreign Affairs Minister and current ZANU-PF Secretary for External Affairs, Comrade Simbarashe Mbengegwi, says Nigeria and other frontline states played a key role assisting Zimbabwe to gain media freedom, both pre- and post-independence.
Behind me is the Herald House, part of Zim Papers, or Zimbabwe Papers, established in 1980. Through a grant given to the Zimbabwe government by the Nigerian government.
Of all African states through the Organization of African Unity Liberation Committee, the Progressive World and the well-wishers to liberate Zimbabwe and other white-ruled states in this region. In just 2 weeks' time, Zimbabweans gather at Nembudzia and Gokwe to celebrate the 45th independence of this country. Among the progressive countries were members of the frontline states plus Nigeria. ZANU-PF Secretary for External Affairs, Comrade Simbarashe Mbengegwi, is one of the few who witnessed the birth of Zimbabwe and assistance given during the transitional period.
Nigeria actively participated in the support of the liberation movements and the mobilization of resources for the liberation movement, so that we came to have a body called the Frontline States and Nigeria. Nigeria became part of the Frontline States. And people get surprised as to why Zimbabwe's foreign policy is so strong on supporting those countries which are still under colonial occupation, like Palestine, like the Sahrawi Republic. Now, this is because our own liberation was an effort by not only the frontline states, but other countries in other parts of the world, like China, like the Soviet Union, like Cuba.
Argus Media Group of South Africa from 1891 to 1980 was a South African concern, thanks to the Federal Republic of Nigeria's assistance.
It was this grant that created the Zimbabwe Mass Media Trust, which ultimately bought both the Herald and the Chronicle, including other papers that were born later. It was in 1980 that the Nigerian government contributed some money, which led to the birth of this Zimbabwe Institute of Public Administration and Management, ZIPAM, currently housed in Darwindale.
Yes, at independence, there was a state of panic on the part of our white oppressors. Many of them packed their bags and left, where Nigeria stepped in in two very, very important areas. First, in terms of giving us control over the media. Nigeria provided us with a grant, to purchase the Zimbabwe newspapers, which was a very important instrument for the new administration. And then in terms of training our public servants, our civil servants, Nigeria provided with a grant for the construction of ZIPA, which, as you know, is our topmost institution for the training of our public servants. That's a grant from Nigeria.
It should not be forgotten that many countries contributed to the stability of the new government of Zimbabwe. Pakistan provided the commander of the Air Force, Air Marshal Daupota, Tanzania Deputy Police Commissioner Mezuldek Temu, and Ghana provided a seasoned diplomat as the chief trainer of new diplomats, Mr. Debra.
As we walk or travel or drive to Nambozia, people should realize that it started from that time when the decolonization process was in place and in the post-independent period when things were very difficult.
And that report takes us back to Pocket Hill Studios in Harare for more news.
Thank you for the update, Marilyn. We bring it back to our Pocket Hill Studios, where the country is stepping up efforts to promote cybersecurity and enhance data protection in order to make the national digital space more secure in the face of evolving cyber threats.
A cyber-security engagement held in Mutare this Thursday saw legislators being implored to ensure the country's legal and policy frameworks remain adaptive and effective in addressing emerging cybersecurity threats.
Zimbabwe is embracing a future where the digital economy becomes a cornerstone of national development. The President has consistently emphasized that the digital revolution is not just an opportunity, but a necessity for Zimbabwe's economic transformation. Central to this vision is the imperative of cybersecurity. A secure digital ecosystem is the foundation upon which trust, investment, and technology progress.
The Parliamentary Portfolio Committee on Information Communication Technology highlighted the importance of sound legal frameworks, continuous learning, collaboration, and legislative responsiveness in dealing with evolving cyber threats.
It is our responsibility as legislators to craft frameworks that defend cyber threats, uphold privacy, and make the benefits of ICT accessible to every Zimbabwean.
Legislators who received training on cybersecurity and data protection issues are convinced they are now better placed to ensure that Zimbabwe's digital economy is protected from cyber threats.
Ukuvikela ilizwe lethu akukhangelwa yi-army kuphela, kodwa kufuze in terms of technology kufuze sivikeleke.
Mhuri dzedu dzinofana kuti dzikwanisewo kuenda kunotrainwa kuti dzigopotawo dzichiziva kuti security yenyika yakamira sei, nokuti zvino nyika yedu iri kuenda digital.
So esikunanzelele ngokufundiswa lokhu ukuthi ilizwe lethu kalivikelekanga kuleso sigaba sokuthi imbiko yethu ingatshontshwa, imbiko lokukhulumisana kwethu kusegcekeni.
Meanwhile, the push for a comprehensive national cybersecurity law, the Postal Telecommunications Amendment, and the e-commerce and e-transactions bills are expected to make the digital space more secure.
Government is forging ahead with the empowerment of youths through availing digital devices and information on the dangers of drug and substance abuse.
2 youth empowerment programs were held in Chinoi, Mashonaland West Province this Friday, with government seeking to capacitate and boost the potential of the youth dividend to contribute to national development. 36 junior parliamentarians from the province received digital devices in the form of tablets, which are part of government efforts to enhance their oversight duties.
We promise to use them wisely. Plus, with it shine kuma communities edu
to make sure the drug and substance abuse are limited and also limit child marriages.
A drug and substance awareness campaign was also held, affording imprisoned survivors an opportunity to share their sad stories of being hooked to drugs.
nekuda kwekuti once wangopinda mazviri hauzokwanisi kubva mazviri. Ukadzidza dombo ucharamba uchida zvedombo, ukadzidza mbanje ucharamba uchida zvembanje. Nguva yekutsvaga mari haumbofa kwaiwana nekuti unenge uchingofunga kudhakwa chete, unenge uchiona kunge zvinhu zvauri kuita ndo zvakanaka.
Ndarasikirwa nebasa, ndarasikirwa nemba, ndarasikirwa zvakare nemhuri. Ezvino zvikatazaya wandiwo muviri wangu unowu.
The junior legislators were implored to promote government's youth empowerment initiatives such as utilization of vocational training centers and cascade calls against drug and substance abuse.
I urge each of you to take action. Get involved in your communities, harness the power of technology for good, and pursue opportunities that align with your passions and your skills. Together, let's transform cliques into genuine progress, shaping a sustainable future where everyone can thrive.
Meanwhile, government is in the process of establishing vocational training centers in each district across the country as part of efforts to empower young people with skills in various trades. Tamuka Charakupa, ZBC News, Chinoi.
This Agri4She program, aimed at empowering women in the agricultural sector, continues to make a lasting impact on the country's agricultural landscape. Let's take a look.
The First Lady, Dr. Auxilia Mnangagwa's Agri4She program targeting women in agriculture is making a positive impact in the agricultural sector as women continue to make positive strides.
One such farmer is Sarudzai Mboweni of Regod Estate, who showcased the immense transformation taking place in the sector at an Excellence Expo held in Harare this Saturday. Ms. Mboweni said the Agri4She program has helped spread tentacles, working with about 56 farmers.
They've also gone with some agronomists, to the village to help, how do you scout for diseases in tomatoes? What are the enemies of cabbages and all? And I've started farming. They used to go all the way to Bite Bridge or, to different Harare. They actually used to commute to Harare to come and buy cabbages. But now, at any given time, I've got 5,000 cabbages in. So people are now coming from all over, coming to the village to buy tomatoes, to buy, the cabbages.
Guests of honor at the Expo, Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Lands, Agriculture, Fisheries, Water and Rural Development, Professor Obed Jirim, praised the First Lady, Dr. Mnangagwa's novel initiative for its transformative impact on the ongoing agricultural revolution taking place in the country.
To women being at the forefront of agrotourism, at the forefront of agro-processing, at the forefront of top-notch production and supplying markets. This is what heralds and what headlines Agri4She is led by Her Excellency Amai Dr. Auxilia Mnangagwa. So when we see this transforming agriculture from just being a fit to being a commercially viable enterprise, this is what agriculture transformation is about.
A lot of women operating in the country's agricultural value chain, including food processing, attended the expo. Owen Mendova, ZBC News, Harare.
And now in the arts segment, the importance of investment knowledge came under the spotlight at the launch of a book titled A Cookie That Did Not Crumble in Harare this Saturday. Let's get the details on that report.
Dubbed The Cookie That Did Not Crumble, the book authored by Alphonse Marketo celebrates the Zimbabwe Stock Exchange ZSE market, bringing to light its resilience even at a time when the economy was ailing due to the economic sanctions imposed on the country by the West, among other factors.
In this book, we are talking of the resilience of the Zimbabwe Stock Exchange in a time when everyone expected the stock market to crumble, when everyone was crashing it, saying it is a scam, it doesn't pay, it doesn't give returns to investors, etc. The ZSE, through measures that has been put by the government, that has been put by the ZSE management, and also some stakeholders who are involved in that space, have remained resilient.
The Zimbabwe Stock Exchange is one of the viable investment markets open for Zimbabweans.
As a country, I think 5% is the number that was given of retail participation. The other countries are very good at it, especially in Africa, especially the top part of Africa, Morocco, Tunisia, Egypt. They are very good at it. We know, and it's mainly young people, young men that does this this retail participation. You lose money in sport betting. What we don't understand is why not put your money in a place where you don't lose all of it. So I think it's a matter of education, I think, that we need to teach our young people.
Secretary for Presidential Affairs and Devolution in the Office of the President and Cabinet, Engineer Tafadzwa Muguti, was guest of honor at the event, highlighted the need for a culture shift from toxic politics to economic progress.
Zimbabwe's economic struggles are one of the great success stories of the world, of how we came from a hyperinflationary period to now recording the fastest growing economy in the region. And it's quite fascinating that in the United States, 61% of the population are very much aware of what happens on the stock exchange. In Zimbabwe, according to research, we are on 5%. People of the entire population who participate on the Zimbabwe Stock Exchange, and about 2% are literate as a nation on what happens in the Zimbabwe Stock Exchange. As it is, it's time for Zimbabweans to embrace alternative investments.
The book joins the list of other articles that try and document the country's economic history in the area of investment and stock markets. Patience Nyagato, ZBC News, Harare.
Success of the first edition of the Amapiano Festival last year. The second edition of the event has been organized and is set for the Zimbabwe International Trade Fair main arena on the 12th of this month.
The first edition saw local artists showcasing their skills in the trending musical genre. However, the second edition of the Amapiano Festival is expected to be bigger and better, as organizers have roped in South African Amapiano music stars to be part of the headline acts.
We are going to be having Bulawayo Piano Fest second edition, which is going to take place at ZITF main arena on the 12th of April. Whereby this is the second edition. The first edition was done 31st of December last year. Now the second edition, we were in conjunction with South African best Amapiano players, because it's the piano festival. So we said, no, for the second edition, let us invite those who started the Amapiano to the city to come and embrace our Bulawayo Piano Fest with our local DJs.
On the local front, the likes of Mlungomnyama, DJ Sida, among other Amapiano artists, are also set to perform.
Then in Zimbabwe, we're going to be represented by Kotwane Ikwa, DJ Kizi, DJ Sida, and Mlungomnyama.
The Bulawayo Piano Festival was conceptualized last year in an effort to promote the growth of Amapiano music in Zimbabwe. Lisa Masuku, Kulwa, ZBC News, Bulawayo.
And now in our sports update, Old Hararians have been crowned the 2025 Nedbank Rugby Challenge Cup champions after dethroning hosts and holders Harare Sports Club 25-20 this Saturday. Let's get more on that report.
The Nedbank Rugby Challenge Cup will be shifting base from Harare Sports Club to Old Hararians after OH put in a dominant show to outclass the Wasps in a thrilling final played at Harare Sports Club. A try from substitute Munyaradzi Gwandu was the difference as Old Hararians bagged the 2025 Nedbank Rugby Challenge Cup in style, outwitting last year's champions, Harare Sports Club, to land the coveted silverware. Harare Sports Club, who had won 3 consecutive Nedbank Rugby Challenge Cup finals, could not find their usual trick as they failed to hold on to their lead in the closing stages of the match. Leading 17-13 with 8 minutes left on the clock, Sportivo let loose their guard, leaking 2 tries to hand over the title to Old Rarians. Earlier on, the Junior Sables and Pitbulls served the crowd a humdinger of a match, going pound for pound in a 26-all stalemate in the 3rd place playoff at the same venue. The Junior Sables were using the platform to prepare for the 2025 Bates Cup. In other matches, Bulawayo Metro beat Manicaland 30-27 and Nedbank Developmental side lost 10-24 to Old Georgians in the 5th place playoff. Reynaud Ngwarati, ZBC News, Harare.
Still in the world of sport, defending Kasolaga Premier Soccer League champions Zimbabwe have picked up their 2nd win of the season after edging Tel 1 by a goal to 0 at Wadzanai Stadium.
The reigning champions are proving that they will not be pushovers this campaign, despite a slow start which saw them scoring a single goal in 4 matches. Facing off with the Tel 1 outfit that has barely let anything loose after 4 games, the Joe Lupasha coached outfit showed their determination and hunger, outwitting the Wi-Fi boys by a single goal to 0. Despite falling to Dynamos last week, the defending champions are proving that Wadzanai Stadium is indeed a fortress after picking up 7 points so far from a possible 9 and are yet to concede in Shamva. In another interesting encounter, Dynamo suffered their first defeat of the season, choking on their trip to Mutare. Charles Teguru was the hitman responsible for the 4 of the Glamour Boys in the 18th minute, giving Manica Diamonds 3 points and a dine in glory at their arena, Sakova Stadium. While Tel 1 slumped, Lloyd Mutasa's Moors capitalized on the loss to ascend to the apex of the league by beating ZPC Kariba by a single goal. Ambitious side Scotland were the biggest winners on the day, pummeling Bigita Minerals by 3 goals to 0 to move back into the top 3. Yada found the going tough in Chisumbanje as they lost to Green Fuel by a single goal. In the Midlands derby at Butter Stadium, Kwekwe United shared this pose with FC Platinum after playing out to a goalless draw. At Luveve, Chicken Inn and Rentals also drew 0-0. This Sunday, Ngeze Platinum will face a mammoth task in their efforts to retain top spot as they visit Rufaro Stadium to face Cape United. A winless Triangle Eye resurgence as they welcome Highlanders to Gibbo Stadium to round up the Matchday 5 fixtures. Reynaud Ngwarati, ZBC News.
Highlanders Football Club boss Brian Moyo has resigned after only serving 4 months as Chief Executive Officer. Moyo's resignation comes at a time Bosso had opened an inquiry into allegations of fraud against the new CEO. He's alleged to have inflated sign-on fees for 2 players acquired from Bulawayo Chiefs. In a statement, the club's chairperson, Kenneth Mhlope, said Highlanders has accepted Moyo's resignation while promising to get to the bottom of the issue. Moyo succeeded the late Sihlangu Tlodlo.
The Zifa Southern Region Division 1 League is expected to start next week after being stalled by the online registration process.
Just like the Women Premier Soccer League in the Northern Region, the Southern Region also experienced another false start due to lack of player registration. The Southern Region was expected to start this Saturday, however, they have not yet satisfied the online player registration as demanded by FIFA and being enforced by the new FIFA board. The Southern Region has granted clubs a 2-day waiver to finish the process, and this came to light during the annual general meeting held this Saturday.
The assumption of our league was supposed to have started today, but it was delayed a bit with 1 week just to accommodate 5 outstanding teams which had paid but failed to meet the Zifa Connect online registration, of which we were allowed an extension of 48 hours, which was given to all the 4 regions plus the Women's League. So it lapsed yesterday evening, and I'm delighted to say all our clubs are fully registered on Zim Connect.
Other lower leagues are also running around to fulfill the CAF.
Hello
together, welcome. Let's take a look at the weather. Residual moisture of Masvingo as well as the southern parts of Manicaland, which resulted in 11 millimeters, and Mkanti as well as 6 millimeters in Chisengo. However, we had briefly cloudy conditions in these areas and became warm by the afternoon, while the rest of the country started off mostly clear, becoming partly cloudy and warm as the day progressed, with the southern half of the country with partly cloudy conditions prevailing in the rest of the areas, with isolated showers in places. Tonight, mild conditions throughout the country with partly in Kariba as well as the southern parts of the country. Now moving on, tomorrow we're expecting warm conditions throughout the country, with the highest temperatures over the northern parts of the country and slight increase in our maximum temperatures over the summer. It should be mild in the morning, becoming warm by the afternoon. Bulawayo is forecast to be partly cloudy, cool in the morning, becoming warm by the afternoon. For the rest of the forecast period, Matopo is briefly cloudy with chances of light rain and drizzle in places. Kwanda, same conditions are expected, light drizzle in places with mild morning conditions. Masvingo, briefly cloudy, becoming warm by the afternoon, though mild in the morning. Moving on, Gweru should be partly cloudy for the greater part of the day, with cool morning conditions and warm afternoons. For the afternoons for Kadoma, with partly cloudy conditions during the day. Harare should be partly cloudy, chances of isolated showers in places, cool in the morning, becoming warm by the afternoon. Chinoi, partly cloudy with isolated showers in places, warm during the afternoons. Lupane, overnight cloudy conditions with partly cloud conditions during the afternoons, warm, chances of isolated showers in places. Bindura, mostly sunny in the morning, becoming partly cloudy as the day progresses. Marondera, partly cloudy with chances of isolated showers. Cold conditions in the morning for Nyanga and partly cloud conditions for the greater part of the day. Thank you for watching. Stay safe and good evening, Zimbabwe.
End of tonight's bulletin.
Absolutely. It's good night.
Sometimes life takes an unexpected turn. One mistake, one moment of rage, and everything changes. This is the story of Paddington Mareja, a father who now lives with the unimaginable, a life behind bars for a crime that haunts him every single day.
Bazarera kabarasika no baranorowa pana pemwana uyawe mwana yachinowira pasi ndikati madonera ita mwana wangu asiriwo ndikandisumudze ndisumudze mwana wangu ndikunona mwana uya